Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm glad you found us. Today, we're diving into the fascinating rhythms of daily life in a Japanese feudal village, the food, the homes, the work, the traditions, and the surprising social rules that shaped every moment. Before we jump in, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our history deep. And if you enjoy this topic, make sure to drop a comment and check out our related videos after this one. There's a whole world of stories waiting for you. The night is almost over, but the world has not yet decided to wake up. In the soft darkness before dawn, a Japanese feudal village lies quiet, tucked between slow-rising mountains and wide fields of rice that look like dark glass under the fading moonlight. Everything feels still, like even time is taking one last nap before beginning another long day. The air is cool and thin, the kind that gently brushes the skin and carries the smell of damp soil and old wood. A faint mist sits low across the fields, sliding slowly between the rows of rice like a shy visitor. It clings to the narrow dirt paths and gathers in corners where shadows hide, giving the whole place a calm, dreamy look. If someone were to walk through this mist right now, they might feel like they're floating. Wooden houses lie in the village paths, small, simple, and full of character. Their thatched roofs look soft in the moonlight, and their paper windows glow faintly from the coals still warm inside. These homes feel alive, even when no one is awake. They creak softly with the night breeze, as if whispering to each other, "Another day is coming." Ready, a lone dog shifts in its sleep outside one of the houses, flopping to the other side like it's trying to dream about something better. Maybe leftover fish, maybe chasing a chicken it's absolutely not allowed to chase. A few chickens in the nearby coop rustle around too, the early birds of the early birds, though even they haven't gathered the courage to make noise yet. For now, the whole village is wrapped in quiet. This quiet wasn't unusual. In the Edo period, the long era of peace that shaped much of Japan's traditional culture, most villagers followed a rhythm that never really changed. The world was stable, life was simple and strict, and the rules were clear, even if no one wrote them on a giant sign. Farmers farmed, artisans crafted, merchants traded, samurai watched. Everyone knew their place, their duty, and their role in the great puzzle of society. But before all the duties and all the work came this moment, the soft space between night and morning, where the village took a breath before waking up. If you stood on the edge of the rice fields now, you'd see the faintest line of silver stretching across the horizon. It's not sunrise yet, but it's the moment when the sun politely knocks and says, "Hey, 5 more minutes," and the mountains, tall and steady, echo back, "All right, but keep it quiet." The water in the rice paddies is still and calm, reflecting the moon like a slow-moving mirror. Every now and then, a frog plops into the water with the confidence of someone who doesn't take care that it's 4 a.m. A dragonfly, confused about time, glides low across the surface. The quiet hum of the fields makes the whole world feel peaceful, as if the village is wrapped in a soft blanket. In the distance, the path leading to the small shrine curves gently uphill. Even the shrine is asleep, its wooden torii gate standing tall and silent, its offering box closed for the night. The gods, too, are probably still stretching, but inside the village homes, people are just beginning to stir. Not awake, not yet, but drifting toward it. A faint crackle comes from a hearth where the last bits of yesterday's fire are trying their best to stay alive. A pot sits beside it, waiting for the morning water that will heat slowly over the flames. The smell of old smoke and warm ash fills the room, mixing with the faint scent of dried herbs hanging from the ceiling. It's a cozy smell, the kind that makes you want to curl up on a tatami mat and ignore all your responsibilities. Inside one house, an old man shifts under his blanket, scratching his beard without opening his eyes. He isn't ready to wake up yet. He knows the fields are waiting, but the fields can wait just a little longer. After all, rice doesn't grow faster just because he gets up early. A mother, half asleep, turns over quietly. She knows she will be up soon too, to light the fire, prepare breakfast, and get the home ready for another full day. For now though, she enjoys the silence. There are no footsteps, no wooden sandals tapping, no kids shouting. The peaceful minutes before the morning rush are precious. She guards them like treasure. And speaking of kids, they're still mostly lumps under blankets. Some of them snore softly, Some are sprawled out like they fought imaginary samurai in their dreams. One child sleeps with a little wooden toy in his hand, his fingers curled loosely around it. Soon, he'll be asked to carry water, help sweep the yard, and maybe feed the animals. But not yet. Childhood, even then, came with responsibility, but also with the gift of a few extra minutes of sleep. As the moon lowers itself gently behind the mountaintops, the mist gets thinner, drifting upward like smoke disappearing into the sky. The silence begins to change. Not break, just change. A rooster gives a single, confused crow, as if testing the world before committing to a second one. A bamboo gate rattles lightly in the breeze. A pot inside one of the houses shifts as someone nudges it half awake. And slowly, softly, the village breathes. For the villagers, mornings like this were nothing special, but also everything. Every day started early. Life didn't wait. There were fields to tend, fires to light, tools to prepare, families to feed. The Edo period was peaceful, yes, but that peace came with effort. Rules kept society stable, but also strict. Order was calm, but it was also demanding. And yet, before all the work and structure, before the labor and routines, there was always this moment. This quiet, beautiful moment when the world was gentle, when the stars still glowed faintly above the rooftops, when the mountains held the night sky like a bowl, when the village rested in its own heartbeat. In these minutes before dawn, life felt simple, safe, balanced. And now, as the first pale brush of sunlight touches the tops of the rice plants, the village begins to wake. Morning arrives in the village, the way a shy guest enters a quiet room, slow, gentle, and trying not to disturb anyone, to suddenly the sun slips up behind the mountains, sending soft stripes of light across the sky. The mist begins to fade, turning from thick white to thin silver, before finally disappearing into nothing. The world stretches, yawns, and begins to move, and with that, the sounds of morning begin. At first, they're tiny, almost shy. A pot lid clinking, a hushed footstep, a rooster warming up its vocal cords, preparing for a performance it absolutely believes is the center of village life. Then, slowly, everything grows louder, but not loud in a chaotic way. Loud in a life is starting way. Inside the homes, women are the first to take action. They move quietly and skillfully, trying not to wake every child at once, because waking one kid is easy, but waking all of them at the same time, that's how innocent mornings turn into tiny stampedes. In one home, a woman kneels by the hearth. She strikes flint together, sending a small shower of sparks onto the dried leaves and pieces of wood arranged from the night before. The fire catches slowly, glowing warm and orange. She cups her hands near it, warming her fingers. The smell of burning wood starts to drift through the house. Smoky, familiar, comforting. It's the kind of smell that tells the whole family breakfast is coming. Eventually, she fills a pot with water, sets it above the flame, and listens as it begins its slow morning boil. There's no rush. Everything in the village happens at the pace of nature, steady, patient, unbothered by anything as fancy as a clock. Meanwhile, children begin to stir. At first, it's quiet, a little sigh, a small stretch, a soft menen from under a blanket. Then suddenly, thud, one kid rolls off a mat and lands on the floor. Not because he meant to, but because he somehow manages to fight imaginary ninjas in his sleep. Again, he blinks, confused, still half dreaming, before letting out a long, dramatic yawn. He stands up, scratching his head, and looks around like he's trying to remember which life he woke up into, the dream world or the chore world. Sadly, it's the chore one. Outside, farmers begin to tie their sandals. The cool dirt path feels firm beneath their feet, and the morning air wraps around them like a light blanket. Each farmer grabs his tools, a hoe, a rake, maybe the wooden buckets for irrigation. The tools aren't new or shiny, but they're dependable, shaped by years of work and the skill of local craftsmen who knew exactly what their neighbors needed. As the farmers walk to the fields, the sound of their wooden sandals, little clack, 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 echoes through the village. It's a sound everyone knows, a steady rhythm that says, a new day is here. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the little things that weave the morning together. The creak of a bamboo gate, the gentle sweep of a broom across a wooden porch, the splash of water as a woman cleans a rice bowl, the soft calls of birds waking up above the rooftops, and yes, the rooster still yelling, because that's his full-time job. The temple bell rings, once a long, deep note that seems to float across the entire village. It's a simple message. The day has officially begun. Not rushed, not forced, just begun. The villagers don't need alarms. The world itself is their alarm. The sun, the bell, the smell of cooking, the footsteps, the soft talk of neighbors wishing each other good morning with sleepy voices. Speaking of cooking, the morning scents in a feudal village are their own kind of poetry. A little rice steaming, a hint of miso warming over the fire, pickled vegetables being prepared. These smells drift from house to house, mixing with the smoke rising lazily from the chimneys. It's simple food, but it's enough to wake even the sleepiest teenager who swore last night, "I'll get up early tomorrow, I promise." Sure you will. As the children slowly become human again, they start doing small chores, fetching water from the shared well, sweeping the yard, feeding the chickens, who now pretend they were awake the whole time. There's no complaining, or at least, not too much, because chores aren't something to argue about. They're simply part of life, like brushing off your sandals or trying not to trip over the neighbor's cat. Some of the older children help their parents prepare tools for the fields. Others help their younger siblings get dressed or straighten their clothes. In a village like this, responsibility starts early, but it's not heavy. It's woven into daily life like a natural rhythm. Speaking of rhythm, the whole village seems to move together in one smooth flow. Not because they planned it, not because someone shouted instructions, but because this is how life has always been. Everyone knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it without disturbing the calm of the morning. Farmers head to the fields. Women prepare meals and organize the home. Children finish chores and get ready for learning or helping. Artisans open their small worksheds. Merchants check their goods. And the village slowly shifts from quiet to alive. There's something deeply peaceful about this rhythm. It's not rushed, like modern mornings where alarms scream, traffic honks, and everyone tries to leave the house at the same chaotic second. In the feudal village, morning is steady, thoughtful, a little sleepy, and surprisingly organized. One old man steps outside, stretches his back, and looks at the rising sun with the same expression he has had for 30 years. Part appreciation, part "why am I up so early again?" He scratches his head, adjusts his sash, and walks toward the fields. His routine hasn't changed in decades, and honestly, he's fine with that. Routine is comfortable. Routine keeps life simple. Routine keeps the village in harmony. By now, the sun is fully above the mountains. The rice fields shimmer with new light. The smoke from breakfast fires rises into the brightening sky. The village hums with conversation, soft voices, polite greetings, a little laughter here and there. Morning has truly arrived, and with everyone awake and ready, the day can finally begin. As the sun climbs a little higher and the morning chill begins to fade, the heart of the village starts beating in full. And that heart, without any question, is the rice field. In a Japanese feudal village, rice wasn't just food. It was the center of everything: the economy, the taxes, the social ranking, the village's pride, even the measure of a person's success. Rice was life. Rice was money. Rice was status. If someone said their harvest was good, that was basically the old-time version of "I got promoted." And so, every day, the villagers walked toward the rice paddies with the quiet determination of people who understood that their world depended on these fields. The path to the paddies is worn smooth by years of footsteps. It curves gently past small streams, over narrow bridges made of old wood, and between rows of tall grass, still wet with morning dew. The sun shines brighter now, warming the backs of the farmers as they walk. A soft breeze passes through the fields, brushing the tops of the rice plants and making them sway like a green ocean. When they reach the paddies, the sight is peaceful yet humbling. Long stretches of shallow water reflect the sky, broken only by the thin stems of rice rising in straight rows. It almost looks too beautiful to be a place of hard work, but anyone who has ever stepped into a muddy rice field knows the truth. Beauty and effort live side by side here. Farmers roll up their pant legs, tighten their belts, and step into the paddy. The water is cool around their ankles, the mud gripping their feet like a clingy friend who refuses to let go. There's always that moment when someone takes the first step and thinks, "Yep, I'm stuck forever." But then they remember that this happens literally every day. The work begins slowly, with a calm rhythm. Some bend to check the health of the plants, inspecting leaves with careful eyes. Others move along the rows, pulling weeds or smoothing the mud around the roots. No one rushes. Rushing in a rice field usually ends with a spectacular fall, and while the village enjoys a good laugh now and then, no one is looking to become the morning entertainment. Dragonflies drift lazily above the water, their wings catching the sunlight. Frogs croak from the edges of the paddies, joining in the morning soundtrack. Every now and then, a bird swoops down to peck at a bug before gliding off again. The farmers work quietly, but the world around them is very much awake. This peaceful setting hides the fact that rice farming is tough. Planting the seedlings takes patience and precision. Maintaining the irrigation channels requires teamwork, planning, and sometimes a bit of arguing. Polite arguing, of course. The fields must be watched constantly for pests, weeds, or changes in water level. And harvesting season, that's a whole other challenge. But through all of this, the villagers never lose their steady pace. The irrigation system is one of the village's most important features. Water is guided through a network of small ditches, gates, and channels that wind around the fields like veins. A single mistake, forgetting to open a gate or letting a channel clog, could cause part of the field to dry out. So farmers take turns watching the flow, adjusting wooden boards, clearing debris, and making sure every plant gets its share. No one works alone. Rice farming is a group effort, and the villagers know this. They talk softly as they work, sometimes discussing weather, sometimes sharing news, sometimes just chatting about simple things like how big the frogs have gotten this year. It's a quiet kind of teamwork, built on trust and understanding. Even the old farmers, with their slow steps and stiff backs, have a place in this rhythm. They offer advice, stories, and gentle reminders, like don't plant too close, give them space, or watch your step. That mud will pull you in if you're not careful. Every now and then, someone does slip. There's a splash, a short yelp, and a moment of silence before the laughter starts. The person stuck in the mud tries to stand up with as much dignity as possible, even though they're covered in half the field. It's a simple, shared moment, a reminder that even in a life of hard work, there's always room for humor. As the sun climbs higher, the heat settles over the fields. The farmers pause to wipe their foreheads with cloths tucked into their belts. The smell of earth grows stronger, mixing with the warm scent of water and plants. The paddies shimmer in the sun, turning from green to gold in certain angles. By midday, the farmers take a break. They step out of the water, shake the mud from their legs, and sit beneath a tree or on a grassy bank. Someone unwraps rice balls packed earlier in the morning. Simple food, but perfect for hungry workers. Another farmer shares pickled vegetables. Someone else brings roasted beans. They eat slowly, chatting lightly as the breeze cools their faces. The world feels peaceful again. Then, after resting, they return to the fields for the second half of the day. More planting, more adjusting of water channels, more steady, patient movement. Work continues until the sun begins to lower and the light softens. There is no rushing, because rice does not respond to rushing. It responds to care. The villagers often say that the fields teach patience. You can't force a harvest. You can't argue with nature. You can only work with it gently, consistently, and with respect. As the day ends, the farmers walk home with tired steps but full hearts. Their clothes are damp, their feet muddy, their backs sore, but the fields are healthy, the plants strong, and the water flowing. That is a good day. In the village, people greet the returning farmers with friendly nods. Children run around them, trying their best not to splash mud everywhere, and failing. Women finishing household tasks glance at the sky, knowing dinner will be ready soon. The smell of evening cooking begins to drift through the village. Behind the farmers, the rice fields rest quietly in the fading light. The dragonflies settle, the frogs grow louder. The world turns golden, then blue, then dark again. And tomorrow, just like today, the fields will wait, patient and calm, for the villagers to return. Step inside a village home, and the first thing you notice is how quiet it is. Not the kind of quiet that's empty or lonely. It's the kind that makes you feel safe. Like the house itself is breathing softly and inviting you to do the same. The walls are wood, sturdy but warm in color, and the ceiling is low enough that you feel protected, but not crowded. There's a rhythm here. The boards creak just a little when you walk. The paper doors slide with a soft whisper, and the hearth hums faintly even when the fire isn't blazing. The floors are tatami, Woven straw mats that give under your feet just enough to remind you that you're re-walking on something alive, not cold stone. If you tiptoe, you feel the texture shift like a tiny conversation beneath your soles. It's delicate, yet practical, perfect for sitting, standing, or napping anywhere you want, which, in a village with kids, happens more than you'd think. Sliding doors, separate rooms, they're paper over wood, fragile but charming. Push one open too hard, and you might hear a soft pop or snap, like the door is letting you know it's alive. People joke about that sometimes. Careful, the door will bite. Of course, it never really bites. Mostly, it just flutters and makes a sound like someone clearing their throat. At the center of the home sits the hearth, small, low, and filled with charcoal embers. This is the heart of the house, literally and figuratively. Meals are cooked here. Tea is warmed here. Babies are cuddled nearby while mothers work. The fire crackles softly, sending faint orange shadows dancing along the walls, and the smell of smoke mixes with wood, straw, and the faint sweetness of dried herbs hanging in little bundles. Everywhere you look, there's purpose. Shelves hold bowls, utensils, and carefully wrapped rice. Hooks display farming tools or bundles of firewood. Baskets cradle vegetables and dried fish. Nothing is extravagant. Nothing is flashy. It's simple, it's practical, and somehow it's comforting. Windows are small, often just enough to let in morning light, but they're placed to catch the sun's path across the day, turning walls gold in the morning and deep amber in the evening. When the breeze flows through, it carries with it scents from the garden, the fields, or the nearby river. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can hear the distant clatter of a wooden bucket or the soft chatter of neighbors greeting each other. Life outside blends gently with the life inside. In the corner, low tables sit on the tatami, used for meals, tea, or writing letters. People kneel or sit cross-legged around them, bringing their own rhythm to the space. Chairs, very few, they aren't necessary. Humans are flexible, the tables are low, and after a lifetime of kneeling, sitting in a chair would feel weird anyway. The walls sometimes feature scrolls, calligraphy, or simple paintings of nature. Perhaps a lone crane in flight or a branch of plum blossoms. They remind the villagers of the seasons, of beauty, of calm. Nothing in the house shouts, everything whispers. Even the shadows have a soft voice. Here, up above, the ceiling is made from wooden beams, left visible, holding the house together. Sometimes, a bit of soot darkens the wood near the hearth, marking where years of cooking, heating, and living have touched the house. These little imperfections are celebrated, not hidden. They tell stories. They say, we've lived here, we've laughed, we've eaten, we've survived. That warmth of memory lingers in the air, more real than any decoration. Some homes have small storage lofts, reachable by ladders that groan under weight. They're filled with extra bedding, tools, and sometimes treasures that don't belong anywhere else. Villagers rarely go up there unless necessary. It's a quiet space, almost like the home's own secret, tucked away above the bustling life below. Lighting comes from oil lamps or candles in small clay holders. At night, the glow spreads slowly, not harsh, not urgent. Shadows stretch across walls, flicker in corners, and play tricks on the eyes. Children love this part. They chase the moving shapes, giggling, and for a moment, the house becomes a theater for tiny imaginations. The kitchen, though small, is functional. Pots and pans hang neatly. Knives are sharpened and ready. Rice is measured carefully. Soup simmers in clay pots. A mother may hum a tune while stirring, not caring if it's slightly off-key. The rhythm of cooking matches the rhythm of life outside.com, consistent and oddly meditative. Occasionally, a cat wanders through, weaving between legs, demanding attention, possibly a bite of fish. Villagers laugh softly. Discipline doesn't extend to the cats. Sleeping arrangements are simple. At night, futons are rolled out on the tatami. Blankets are tucked just right. Pillows are small, firm, and perfect for a gentle sleep. Families sleep together, warmth shared, bodies close. There's comfort in proximity, in knowing your loved ones are there, breathing, dreaming, alive. And in the morning, everything is rolled up again, stored neatly to give space for the day's work. Every item in the house has a purpose. Nothing is wasted. If a bowl chips, it might become a plant holder. If a basket frays, it might be reforged into something new. Life here values utility, beauty, and care in equal measure. There's a quiet elegance to it, though it's hidden behind simplicity. This is not a home that shouts, it's a home that listens. It grows with its people, holds them, and lets them go out into the fields, knowing they have a place to return. Community touches the homes too. Villagers often help each other repair roofs, mend walls, or carry heavy beams. Children learn to sweep floors, light fires, or polish utensils. Crafts and skills passed down naturally, not in schoolrooms but in living spaces like this. Knowledge is folded into everyday life, as essential as rice or water. And then there's humor. Life is hard, yes, but humor floats through these homes like sunlight. Someone drops a pot, someone spills tea, someone's cat knocks over a rice sack. A laugh rises, soft, warm, human. It's the little things that keep the house alive, more than the wood, the straw, or the hearth. By mid-morning, the house is no longer quiet. The warmth spreads from the hearth. Children run errands. Women prepare more food. Men come in briefly to wash up or grab a snack before heading back to the fields. The house breathes with them, carrying their stories in its walls, its floor, its ceiling beams. Every corner has a voice, every shadow carries a memory, and every flicker of light reminds everyone, you are home. This is what makes a feudal village house beautiful. Not gold, not jewels, not grand architecture, just wood, paper, fire, and the people who fill it. It's a place that holds life in balance, that teaches rhythm, care, patience, and a little bit of laughter along the way. A place where the mundane becomes sacred, where every small movement, every little sound is part of a song only this village knows. Step outside now, and you can hear the fields calling again. Life continues. But for a moment, the house stays behind with its warmth, its light, and its quiet magic. And that, more than anything, keeps the village moving as one, calm, steady, and full of heart. In a village like this, life depends on the women, not in some dramatic heroes of history way, but in the quiet, everyday kind of way. They're the ones who keep the hearth warm, the rice cooking, the children clothed, and the whole rhythm of the village flowing without anyone realizing just how much work it takes. If the village were a drum, women would be the steady hand keeping the beat. Morning for women begins even before the sun is fully up. While farmers trudge into the fields and children shuffle out of bed, women are already moving through the house like silent, efficient ghosts. Fire is lit in the hearth, pots are set on the flames, water is drawn from the well, buckets clinking softly, and dishes are washed quietly in preparation for the day ahead. Even the wind through the sliding doors seems to respect their presence, drifting softly rather than rushing in. Their tasks are many, and their hours long. Cooking isn't just throwing rice into a pot. It's careful measurement, gentle stirring, tasting, adjusting. Soups are simmered with herbs to warm the stomach, preserve health, or just make the air smell a little nicer. Pickles are pressed in clay jars, vegetables cut and dried for winter. Every action has a purpose, every moment matters. And yet, humor sneaks in. A cat steals a rice bowl. A child spills tea across the tatami. A bundle of laundry tips over like it had a mind of its own. The women laugh, not loudly, but just enough to keep the day from feeling too heavy. Their laughter is like a tiny bell, soft and bright, ringing through the calm of the house. Weaving is another morning activity. Threads of cotton or hemp are wound onto looms with delicate precision. A pattern begins to emerge under careful fingers, slow and patient. Sometimes the weaver hums a tune. Sometimes she scolds a child who is poking at the threads. But mostly, it's the sound of calm focus, a rhythm that mirrors the larger rhythm of village life. Steady, deliberate, enduring. Children often learn by watching these women. Girls may sit quietly beside mothers, hands clutching tiny bits of cloth or straw, trying not to make mistakes. Boys might help with firewood or fetching water, learning how to manage tasks without being told twice. And through it all, the women model something that can't be taught in books. Care, thoughtfulness, patience, how to keep a household running while keeping your own heart intact. Herbs are another specialty. A woman might wander to the small garden behind the house, snipping leaves for tea, medicine, or cooking. Each plant has a story, each herb a purpose. Some calm the stomach, some warm the body. Some are tucked into little pouches and hung in the home to ward off bad luck. Knowledge of these herbs is handed down quietly, from mother to daughter, like a secret language that only a few truly understand. Beyond the practical, there's the social role. Women maintain relationships. They check on neighbors. They help with weddings, funerals, and festivals. They smooth over arguments. They remind the village of small kindnesses that matter more than anyone notices. Lending sugar, carrying a baby, patching a child's clothes. Their work is invisible in the way a river quietly shapes the land, but no less essential. Even within these constraints, there's room for mischief. A little teasing of a sleepy husband. A secret sweet, hidden for later. A joke shared with a neighbor over a fence. These moments, brief and light, are the laughter that keeps the village from becoming too serious. Life here is calm, but not dull. A woman knows how to balance the weight of responsibility with a spark of playfulness. Mealtimes are their stage. The kitchen becomes a small theater of order and care. Rice bowls are arranged, soups ladled, fish portioned. Everyone eats in silence at first, respecting the food, the hands that prepared it, the rhythm of the day. Then stories emerge. A child tells about a frog in the rice field. A father complains about stepping in mud. A small debate about which bundle of rice is better. The women watch, smile, and occasionally intervene with a gentle reminder to chew carefully or share evenly. Health and well-being are another invisible responsibility. Women notice subtle changes in children's behavior. They check elders for fatigue or discomfort. They prepare simple remedies, soothing baths, herbal compresses. They carry knowledge that might seem small, but it keeps the village alive. Literally, if a woman is absent, the household feels the difference immediately. Meals go cold, work drags, even the animals sense the change. During festivals, women take on new roles. They prepare offerings, decorate homes, braid rice stalks into good luck charms, and orchestrate small dances or prayers. Their energy guides the rhythm of celebrations, ensuring that everything runs smoothly while still leaving room for joy. They pass stories down in quiet moments, whispering legends, seasonal tales, and family histories, while children nap or while the evening fire glows. Evening doesn't bring rest for the women, not immediately. Dinner is served, dishes are washed, fire embers are banked, laundry is hung or folded, lessons are repeated with children, doors are checked, animals fed, small chores completed that most people would never notice. Only then, when the household is truly at peace, do the women sit down, perhaps with a cup of tea or a quiet conversation with another woman who shares the same daily burden. A sigh escapes, shoulders relax, and for a brief moment, the day's work folds away like a soft blanket. Yet even in their labor, there is beauty, there is creativity in arrangement, elegance in simplicity, humor in everyday chaos. The village would not function without them. They are the silent force, the heartbeat, the glue holding people, animals, and fields together. They move like water, shaping the lives around them, soft but unstoppable. And perhaps that's the secret. The women of the village aren't just keepers of homes, they are keepers of life itself. Calm, enduring, thoughtful, sometimes funny. They teach patience without preaching. They show care without fanfare. And through their daily acts, the village survives, grows, and thrives. By the time night falls, when lamps glow softly and the fields are quiet, the women are still moving, checking one last fire, tucking in a child whispering a soft prayer for the family, the village, and the harvest. They've carried the day, shaped the day, and now, in quiet strength, they allow themselves a brief moment of rest before the cycle begins again tomorrow. And the village breathes, not because of the houses, not because of the fields, but because of these quiet, tireless, wonderfully human women. Children in a feudal village are both small and mighty. Tiny in size, sure, but mighty in energy, curiosity, and a strange ability to get into trouble before breakfast. Life in the village teaches them early that the world isn't all play, but it also shows them that work and joy can coexist, sometimes in the same muddy puddle. Morning starts the same for them as everyone else, with the rooster's performance. Some kids groan, pulling the blanket over their heads. Others bounce up immediately, already planning mischief. By the time the sun stretches its first rays across the rooftops, most children are awake, rubbing sleepy eyes and yawning through chores, just like their parents. Chores are a big part of growing up. Even the littlest ones have responsibilities. Some fetch water from the well, which is trickier than it looks, because buckets are heavy and the rope has a tendency to slip. Some gather firewood, ducking under low branches, trying not to drop sticks in the mud. Others feed the animals, counting chickens or scattering grain for pigs. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to the household. Every task teaches patience, attention, and a sense of belonging. But life isn't all work. Children play in the quiet moments, often in ways that seem messy, noisy, and chaotic, which of course is precisely how they learn. A game chasing dragonflies in the rice fields is both fun and instructive. They learn the contours of the land, the feel of mud between their toes, the patience needed to track a moving target. If a frog jumps unexpectedly, shrieks and laughter ripple across the paddies, and the game continues. Learning through play is the unspoken curriculum of the village. Apprenticeship begins early, too. Boys often shadow their fathers or male relatives. They watch carefully as they work in the fields, handle tools, or craft small objects. A mistake might be met with a quiet sigh, a shake of the head, or a patient demonstration. No shouting, no dramatics. Learning comes in soft waves, repetition, and observation. Girls often learn in parallel, weaving, cooking, tending the garden, or helping with small animals. They absorb skills the same way, through touch, sight, and quiet guidance. Schooling is sporadic but present. Boys may attend small village lessons on reading, writing, and arithmetic, enough to manage trade, taxes, and correspondence. Lessons are often outdoors in good weather, with a teacher pointing at bamboo slates or guiding students through chants of characters. Memorization is key. Mistakes are corrected gently, because the goal isn't fear, it's understanding. Education here is practical, tied directly to life rather than theory. Festivals are the highlight of childhood. These moments break the daily rhythm and turn work into celebration. Children run with excitement, helping carry lanterns, tossing rice for good luck, or following the elders in dances and rituals. Laughter floats above the village like smoke from a hearth. The children absorb tradition, rhythm, and communal joy without even realizing they are learning the core of village life: participation, respect, and harmony. Responsibilities grow as children age. By 10 or 12, many are already capable of managing more significant tasks: milking animals, helping cook meals, repairing tools, or leading younger siblings through minor chores. They understand the patterns of life, the rhythm of planting and harvesting, of festivals and rituals, of communal meals and daily work. Slowly, the abstract concept of belonging solidifies into a lived reality. They see themselves as part of a living, breathing system, and they know that their role matters. Lessons often come with subtle humor. A child slips in the mud while carrying water. A chicken runs off with a basket of grain. A woven basket collapses under too much weight. The adults chuckle. The children learn resilience and humility without harsh words, and the village absorbs the laughter as part of its daily soundscape. It's not discipline through fear, but through gentle correction and communal storytelling. Mistakes are part of life, and everyone, including children, knows it. Childhood is also a time for imagination. While adults manage tasks and the seasons, children explore. They make small toys from scraps. A stick becomes a sword. A piece of cloth becomes a doll. A mud puddle is suddenly a battlefield or a river. Imagination is free here, bounded only by the village's safety. Nature becomes both playground and teacher. Every day outside is a lesson in observation, resourcefulness, and the beauty of small things. Meals are both practical and instructive. Children sit at low tables, learning proper ways to eat, share, and observe. They see their elders take small bites, speak softly, and show gratitude. They notice how every hand contributes to what is on the table, from cooking to farming to gathering firewood. Eating is not just about filling the stomach, it's about understanding community. And yes, occasionally a child steals a bite of something forbidden, only to be gently scolded. Humor, again, is part of the curriculum. Evenings are a mix of rest and continued learning. Children might help with small chores, listen to elders' stories, or prepare for the next day. When night falls, they tuck themselves into futons, alongside siblings or parents. The rhythm of the village, from sunrise to sunset, work to rest, becomes ingrained in their sense of time, space, and responsibility. Sleep is a reward and a preparation for tomorrow. In learning to belong, children absorb more than just skills. They absorb values, patience, respect, humility, diligence, and the quiet strength needed to live in harmony with others. They learn that their actions affect the community, that small efforts matter, and that joy can exist alongside responsibility. By the time they are fully grown, this knowledge is instinctive, part of who they are. And through it all, the children keep the village alive in ways the adults sometimes forget. They bring energy, laughter, curiosity, and unpredictability. They remind everyone that even in routine, life is vibrant. They chase dreams in puddles, follow shadows, listen to stories, and prepare to take their place in the endless rhythm of village life. Because in a village like this, belonging isn't taught with lectures. It's learned by doing, watching, and feeling. Children wake before dawn, play in the sun, work in the fields, learn at small lessons, and celebrate festivals. They see the women's strength, the men's diligence, and the community's care. Slowly, day by day, they weave themselves into the fabric of the village, and one day, without realizing it, they will become the next keepers of its calm, steady heart. Walk a little further into the village, past the rice fields and the cluster of homes, and you'll find the heartbeat of creation, the workshops. This is where the artisans live their quiet magic, shaping wood, clay, metal, and cloth into tools, utensils, and beauty. Their work doesn't scream for attention, but it shapes every aspect of village life. Without them, nothing would run smoothly. No tools for farming, no bowls for meals, no roofs over heads. They are the silent, steady hands that hold the village together. The blacksmith's forge is alive with soft heat. The coals glow red orange in the hearth, and metal sings faintly as it meets hammer and anvil. Sparks fly like tiny stars, falling and fading in a rhythm only the smith fully understands. The blacksmith's muscles move in slow, practiced arcs, shaping iron into tools that will last generations. Occasionally, a hammer misses slightly, and the smith mutters under their breath, a soft curse or a joke to keep themselves awake. There's pride here, but also patience. Mistakes are temporary. Skill grows slowly, hammer by hammer. Nearby, the carpenter works with wood that smells faintly of pine and cedar. Sawdust floats in the morning light like tiny drifting clouds. The carpenter measures, marks, and cuts with precision. Every beam, plank, or post is handled with care, because a crooked cut might mean a leaky roof or a wobbly cart. Sometimes, a child peeks in to watch, eyes wide, and the carpenter grins, not annoyed, just recognizing the next generation learning the rhythm of work. The sound of saws and planes is soft, almost musical. Clack, scrape, tap. It's not loud. It's soothing in a way you don't expect. Potters sit cross-legged at their wheels, hands wet and coated in soft, cool clay. The spinning disc turns slowly under their fingers, forming bowls, cups, and storage jars. Each piece is unique. Small imperfections, celebrated rather than hidden. A small oops can turn into a design. A curve can become a flourish. Water drips quietly. The wheel hums softly, and the potter hums along with it. If you watch long enough, the pieces seem to grow almost magically, as if the clay itself knows what it wants to be. Weavers work near windows, back straight, eyes focused, threads stretched taut across looms, patterns emerging slowly as colors cross and twist. Fingers move deftly, untangling snags, adjusting tension. The resulting cloth is more than fabric. It's a story, a piece of the village, woven into every fiber. A child may peek over the edge, curious, and the weaver might quietly teach a simple knot or pattern, passing down knowledge like a secret treasure. Even the tool makers, small workshops, but vital, fill the village with quiet industry. Axes, sickles, plowshares, and simple knives are honed with meticulous care, sharp enough to work, but balanced so hands don't tire. Every tool is tested, sometimes jokingly. This one won't slice your thumb off. Hopefully, a craftsman might mutter. Humor weaves through the work here, softening the long hours and adding a little life to otherwise repetitive tasks. The smell of these workshops is distinct and comforting. Wood, wet clay, heated metal, and fresh thread blend into an aroma that feels both alive and grounding. It's earthy and human, mixed with effort and intention. Step inside, and you feel the pulse of the village. Every sound, every touch, every breath is part of a larger rhythm that has existed for generations. Craftsmanship in this village is about more than making things. It's about preserving knowledge, passing down techniques, and shaping items that carry history. A potter might have learned from a parent who learned from a grandparent. A blacksmith might have inherited tools older than most children. Each hammer, brush and spindle is part of a chain linking the present to the past, and the villagers respect it. They treat each creation carefully, not just because it's useful, but because it carries the hands, time, and wisdom of their neighbors. The artisans also teach patience in unexpected ways. Work here cannot be rushed. Clay doesn't listen to hasty hands. Wood resists impatient cuts. Metal must cool before shaping. The village absorbs this lesson in subtle ways. A child learns to wait. A farmer learns to respect the tools. Even a woman carrying water senses the rhythm. Life itself mirrors the work of the artisans, deliberate, careful, and mindful. There's humor too, tucked into these workshops. A hammer slips. A pot collapses unexpectedly. A bundle of thread tangles hopelessly. The artisan laughs softly, sometimes at themselves, sometimes at the chaos. Mistakes are part of learning, part of life, and part of the charm of the village. Nobody shouts, nobody panics, just a shake of the head, a gentle correction, and a lesson learned. Community is built here as much as creation. Neighbors stop by to trade news, ask advice, or borrow a tool. Children watch, silently absorbing skills they will need when it's their turn to take up a hammer, a saw, or a spindle. Knowledge flows naturally, quietly, and without pomp. The village is a living workshop, every person contributing in their own way, every hand shaping the whole. By late morning, the workshops hum with a gentle energy. Sparks, sawdust, clay, and threads swirl together, and the village feels alive in a soft, steady way. The artisans step back, wipe their hands, and glance at their work. Everything is imperfect, everything is human, and yet everything is enough. Tools will last, bowls will hold rice, cloth will keep bodies warm, and in that sufficiency, the village thrives. The hands that build the village do more than make objects. They make life smoother, safer, and more beautiful. They carry knowledge, skill, and humor from one generation to the next, and quietly, without fanfare, they remind everyone that labor and creativity, when guided by care and patience, can create a world that feels steady, harmonious, and alive. As the sun moves higher, the rhythm of the workshops blends with the rhythm of the fields, the homes, and the village streets. Life here is not loud. It doesn't scream for attention. It hums, gently, persistently, and beautifully shaped by hands that know the weight of the world. The softness of clay, and the magic in a simple, well-made tool. Not far from the homes and workshops, the village opens a different kind of rhythm. The market. Market day is a special day. It doesn't happen every day, but when it does, the village hums with quiet excitement. Farmers, artisans, women, children, and travelers gather to exchange goods, stories, and sometimes a little gossip. It's calm, orderly, and full of subtle life, like a river flowing steadily rather than a rushing waterfall. Money in the village isn't everywhere. Coins exist, but they're rare. Most transactions are barter, swapping rice for vegetables, fish for cloth, or a handmade basket for a pair of sandals. Merchants play a careful game, knowing the value of their goods but also understanding the rhythm of exchange, a gentle negotiation rather than a hard bargain. It's an art as delicate as weaving or pottery, and it's respected by everyone. The market forms naturally, like petals around a flower. Farmers set up small wooden tables, placing vegetables in neat rows. Cabbages, turnips, daikon, and herbs with fragrant green leaves. Rice is displayed in woven baskets, shining in the morning light. Fish, caught fresh from nearby rivers, glisten on wooden slabs, and women's handmade goods, woven baskets, small pottery bowls, simple cloths sit carefully arranged, inviting attention. Nothing is extravagant, but everything is functional, beautiful in its simplicity, and infused with care. Merchants call out softly, not shouting, inviting villagers to look at their goods. Fresh daikon this morning, new cloth, just woven. The calls are rhythmic, friendly, part of the village soundscape. Children dart between stalls, eyes wide at the colors and smells, occasionally tugging their mother's sleeve for a small treat. The merchants smile patiently, sometimes teasing, sometimes laughing quietly at the children's antics. Trade happens in quiet conversation. Villagers discuss the quality of rice, the firmness of vegetables, the smoothness of cloth. A small nod or a soft laugh seals a bargain. Sometimes a quick story accompanies a trade. I grew this carrot myself, and the crows tried to steal it, and everyone chuckles, bonding over shared experience. It's business, yes, but it's also community. Every exchange reinforces the village's sense of rhythm and mutual reliance. The air is a mixture of scents: fresh earth, fish, herbs, baked goods, and the faint smoke from nearby hearths. It's alive without being overwhelming. The sounds are layered but calm: sandals on dirt paths, soft murmurs, children's laughter, and the occasional clink of coin or basket. Even the wind seems to carry these elements together, moving gently through stalls, lifting the edge of a cloth, or rustling leaves on a nearby tree. Merchants themselves are a quiet sort of magic. They carry items from the outside world: a rare piece of cloth, a tool not made in the village, a spice that hints at distant lands. They are connectors, linking the village to what lies beyond the mountains, but they don't rush or pressure. Their presence is part of the village's rhythm, a gentle reminder that the world is bigger, yet small enough to visit slowly, respectfully. Children often help in the market, running small errands or carrying light bundles. They observe the flow, learning the unspoken rules: where to stand, how to greet customers, when to laugh, when to stay quiet. They see the adults' subtle negotiations, the polite refusals, the exchanges of advice. Slowly, they absorb the knowledge needed to navigate trade, relationships, and community life without ever opening a book. Evening in the market is a soft unwinding. Goods are packed carefully back into baskets or carts. Stalls are folded down, benches set aside. Villagers carry home what they've obtained, sometimes sharing a portion with neighbors, sometimes savoring a small indulgence for themselves. The quiet chatter fades, replaced by the soft clop of sandals on dirt paths, and the occasional laughter of a child still lingering in the cooling air. Market day is also an education in patience and observation. Merchants learn which goods sell best, which neighbors need what, and how to handle children's curiosity without frustration. Villagers learn about quality, value, and resourcefulness. Everyone practices a subtle form of social rhythm, learning to participate gracefully, to trade honestly, and to find joy in the small but meaningful interactions that keep the community connected. Humor, of course, sneaks in. A child might trip over a basket, sending apples rolling across the path. A chicken from a nearby coop might wander among stalls, pecking curiously at rice grains. A merchant might miscount coins, prompting gentle laughter. These small moments of chaos are welcomed rather than scolded, reminding the villagers that life, even in its most routine exchanges, is never completely predictable, and that unpredictability is often the sweetest part. Through all this, the market teaches an unspoken lesson: connection matters. Every trade, every conversation, every laugh, and every shared glance reinforces the bonds of the village. Food is exchanged, tools are shared, stories are told, but the most important currency is trust and mutual respect. Everyone contributes, everyone benefits, and everyone leaves a little richer, not just in goods, but in understanding and belonging. By the end of market day, the village returns to its calm rhythm. The fields are waiting for the next round of labor, homes are prepared for the evening hearth, and children, exhausted from curiosity and activity, stumble home in quiet satisfaction. Merchants pack their wares, ready to travel, leaving behind both goods and subtle lessons about care, generosity, and community. Market day, small though it may seem, is a microcosm of the village itself: steady, gentle, full of life, and balanced between work and play. It's a reminder that even in simplicity, there's richness. Even in routine, there's joy. And even in quiet, there's a subtle hum of connection that keeps the village alive, moving, and, most importantly, together. Even in a quiet village like this, there's always a sense of watchfulness. The samurai presence is subtle, woven into the rhythm of daily life like a faint, steady drumbeat. They don't shout, they don't storm in dramatically, and most of the time, they move like shadows in the background, visible, respected, and sometimes a little intimidating. Samurai in the Edo period aren't wandering warriors looking for trouble. They are the local daimyos, enforcers, the protectors of order, and the occasional collectors of taxes. Their armor is polished, their swords gleam, and their movements are precise. But for villagers, they're mostly just a reminder. Someone oversees the rules. Someone maintains the calm order that keeps life predictable, and predictability is important. Patrols are quiet affairs. A lone samurai might walk past the rice fields in the early morning, boots crunching softly on the dirt path. Farmers glance up, nod politely, and continue their work. No one rushes. No one stares too long. The samurai nods back, maybe tips the edge of a hat, and moves on. It's all very calm, very controlled. If you weren't paying attention, you could almost forget they were there, except for that quiet sense of authority lingering in the air. Occasionally, a samurai enters the village for official business, checking records, collecting rice taxes, or inspecting the fields. These visits are not dramatic events, though children often treat them like they are. They watch from behind fences, eyes wide at the gleaming armor, whispering to each other about what it must feel like to carry a sword and a quiet sense of power. Adults, meanwhile, handle the interaction with calm respect. They know the rules, and they know their place. The village functions smoothly because everyone understands the hierarchy. Despite the formality, samurai are not always fearsome. Many are just people doing their jobs, following the strict codes of their class. They might offer a soft word of advice, keep the irrigation clear, or maintain the walls near the gate. Villagers listen, nod politely, and continue with their day. Sometimes, there's a quiet humor. A child might dart close to peek at a sword, and the samurai will gently shoo them away with a small smile. It's authority tempered with human understanding. Taxes, though necessary, are handled with a quiet efficiency. Rice is measured, collected, and accounted for. Villagers comply without complaint because the system has been established for generations. There's no chaos, no shouting matches, just calm procedure. And while the process is serious, the samurai understand the human side. A bundle of rice short here, a sick child there. Life happens, and experience teaches them to navigate it with balance. Even in their distance, samurai are integrated into the village rhythm. They appear at festivals, usually quietly, observing and sometimes participating in ceremonial ways. Their presence reminds everyone of structure and duty, but does not overshadow joy or community. Children might glance in awe, whispering about the shine of armor, while adults carry on with prayers, offerings, and celebration. Authority and tradition coexist seamlessly. Samurai also serve as role models in their own way. Discipline, precision, and dedication are visible in their every step, every gesture, every interaction. Villagers observe these qualities, not to mimic warfare, but to understand calm efficiency, focus, and composure. Life in the village benefits subtly from this example, instilling a quiet respect for order that makes daily routines smoother. Evening encounters with samurai are rare but memorable. A patrol returning from the mountains might pass the village as lanterns are lit, the soft glow reflecting off polished armor. Farmers pause in the fields, women glance from doorways, and children watch silently. It's a calm, almost ceremonial moment, a reminder that the village exists within a larger world, connected to authority, responsibility, and tradition. Yet it never feels threatening, only present, steady, and a little awe-inspiring. Humor exists here too, though lightly. Villagers whisper about how a particularly tall samurai has trouble ducking under doorways, or how another has a cat that insists on following him everywhere. These small jokes humanize the authority, making it approachable without diminishing respect. Life in the village, after all, balances reverence and relatability. Through all this, the samurai presence reinforces a larger rhythm. The village knows structure. There's an unspoken agreement. Follow the rules, respect each other, and contribute to the community. In return, life flows smoothly, days are predictable, and the subtle beauty of routine is preserved. The samurai are a constant reminder that order exists beyond the home, the fields, or the market, and that everyone, from children to elders, has a part in maintaining it. By nightfall, the samurai retreat to the lord's nearby residence or watchtower. Lanterns dim, footsteps fade, and the village returns fully to its calm, self-contained rhythm. Yet their presence lingers in memory, a faint pulse of authority woven into the fabric of daily life. The village continues to thrive, orderly, peaceful, and gently guided, because the samurai exist as both guardians and teachers of balance, duty, and quiet power. And that's the delicate truth. The samurai aren't distant threats. They aren't meant to scare or dominate. They are watchers, overseers, and reminders. They teach through example, not force, and in doing so, they preserve the village's calm, steady heartbeat, ensuring that life continues in a rhythm that is gentle, predictable, and full of quiet dignity. Nestled at the edge of the village, or sometimes at the top of a gentle hill, the temples and shrines are more than just buildings. They are the spiritual heartbeat of the village, quiet yet essential, always present even when no one speaks of them directly. Their presence blends into daily life like a soft undercurrent, steady, calm, and reassuring. The Shinto shrine is often simple but beautiful, with a torii gate marking the entrance. Wood and stone, carefully polished by years of weather, give the impression of permanence and respect. Inside, small offerings of rice, salt, or soki sit neatly, and prayer ropes hang, gently swaying with the breeze. Villagers approach the shrine in silence, bow, clap softly, and whisper prayers, not in a rush, not in fear, but in a quiet dialogue with the unseen. Nearby, the Buddhist temple rises slightly taller, with layered roofs and gentle eaves. Bells hang in the corners, waiting to be rung during ceremonies. Inside, incense curls in lazy spirals, filling the room with a soft fragrance that invites calm. Monks move slowly, deliberately, sweeping floors, chanting in soft, melodic voices, or tending small altars. Everything is done with purpose, without hurry, reflecting the rhythm of a world that moves carefully and meaningfully. Villagers visit the temples for guidance, gratitude, or protection. Daily rituals are simple: a bow here, a small offering there, a whispered prayer for health, harvest, or family. These acts are gentle, almost meditative, creating a pause in the day's labor. Even children learn early to approach with reverence, to mimic gestures, and to feel the quiet magic that exists in the ritual. Seasonal festivals are where the spiritual life of the village truly shines. During Obon, lanterns float gently along the river, guiding ancestral spirits back to the world of the living for a brief visit. Children help carry lanterns, their laughter mingling with soft chants. During the new year, villagers gather for blessings, ringing temple bells to welcome luck and peace. Even small rituals, tying good fortune charms to a tree, scattering rice for prosperity, or leaving tiny coins at an altar, are practiced with care and community spirit. Priests serve as guides, but not in a domineering way. They teach, advise, and sometimes gently correct. They help interpret the flow of life, marking births, deaths, weddings, and harvests with rituals that feel both solemn and comforting. Villagers respect their knowledge, but it's a relationship built on mutual understanding, not fear. Sometimes, priests even smile at the little antics of children chasing fireflies or playing near temple steps, understanding that joy is part of spiritual life too. The architecture of the temples themselves encourages reflection. Wooden beams, open spaces, sliding paper doors, and small courtyards create rooms where light, shadow, and breeze dance together. It's a deliberate calm. Even the sound of footsteps on gravel pathways is rhythmic, contributing to the sense of mindfulness. The village absorbs this subtle order into its daily routines: the pace of work, the manner of speaking, the careful attention to small tasks, all echoing the calm lessons learned at the temple. Food offerings are an understated part of temple life. Simple rice, vegetables, or sweets are placed on small altars as a sign of gratitude or hope. The aroma of incense blends with these offerings, creating a scent that marks the day without overwhelming it. These acts are small, repetitive, and gentle, yet they reinforce the idea that every action, no matter how minor, matters. Respect and mindfulness are cultivated quietly in the spaces between work and rest. Temple bells mark the passing of time in a way both practical and symbolic. Morning, noon, and evening are punctuated with a soft toll, reminding villagers of rhythm, reflection, and presence. Even in bustling moments, the sound of a bell calms the spirit, calling everyone back to mindfulness. It's not an alarm, not a rush, just a gentle nudge to pause, notice, and appreciate. Festivals also provide lessons in community. Villagers gather to prepare decorations, cook shared meals, or carry portable shrines through the streets. The energy is lively but measured, guided by tradition and respect. Children learn the importance of collaboration, adults demonstrate patience, and everyone participates in rituals that tie them to the land, their ancestors, and each other. Even in quiet villages, these moments add subtle color to daily life. Humor, naturally, slips in too. A child trips while carrying a lantern. A dog wanders into the altar area. Someone forgets the right chant and giggles mid. Laughter is never harsh. It's gentle, accepted, and even appreciated. Life and spirituality coexist. Serious, yes, but not without space for lightness. This balance mirrors village life itself, a mix of duty and joy, reflection and action. In the evenings, as villagers return from fields or workshops, the temple seems to sigh with contentment. Lanterns flicker, incense burns softly, and the stones, wood, and earth hold warmth from the day's activity. Families may stop briefly on their way home, bowing, touching hands together, or whispering thanks for small mercies. Even in silence, there is communication, a connection between human effort and spiritual presence, between daily labor and unseen rhythms of life. By nightfall, temples rest in shadow and quiet. The village settles into calm, but the lessons of the day linger. Reverence, mindfulness, care for community, respect for nature, and a subtle appreciation for life's impermanence, all are absorbed in ways that shape villagers' hearts and habits. Children remember small rituals. Adults recall prayers, teachings, and acts of kindness. Life continues, guided gently by the spiritual pulse embedded in every stone, beam, and bell of the temples and shrines. And that's the essence of village spirituality, not loud sermons or grand displays, but calm, constant presence, a quiet rhythm that shapes days, steadies hearts, and teaches villagers to live harmoniously with each other, their land, and the unseen forces they honor. Here, spirituality isn't separate from life. It is life, soft, steady, and enduring, like the pulse of the village itself. If the heart of the village is women, the soul is its food. Cooking isn't just about filling bellies, though it does that very well. It's about rhythm, care, community, and the little touches that make life gentle, warm, and sometimes delightfully funny. A meal is where the village gathers, connects, and remembers that life is both work and joy. Rice is, of course, the centerpiece, not just food, but sustenance, wealth, and pride. It is planted, nurtured, and harvested with meticulous care. Every grain is precious. Cooking rice isn't a task to rush. It's a ritual. Water is measured, flames are monitored, and a gentle puff of steam rising from the pot signals the quiet success of a morning's work. Too much water and the rice is mushy. Too little and it's stubborn and dry. Balance, patience, and attention. Lessons embedded in food itself. Soups simmer slowly, blending miso, herbs, vegetables, and occasionally fish. The smell drifts through homes like a gentle invitation to pause. The sound of bubbling broth, the soft clink of a ladle against clay, the hum of the cook, all contribute to a calming atmosphere. Occasionally, a cat will sneak a sniff or a paw, and the cook will laugh quietly, scolding gently. Humor, like seasoning, enhances the flavor of daily life. Preserving food is another essential art. Vegetables are pickled in clay jars, rice is stored carefully, and small fish are dried to last through winter. Preservation isn't merely practical, it teaches patience. Today's labor becomes tomorrow's comfort. The rhythm of planting, cooking, and storing mirrors the rhythm of village life. Careful, deliberate, and rewarding. Meals themselves are social experiences. Families gather around low tables, sitting on woven mats or tatami floors. The act of eating is deliberate, mindful. Chopsticks are held with care, rice bowls are passed respectfully, and everyone waits until the oldest or most honored member takes the first bite. Conversation is soft and calm, a recounting of the day's events, stories of work, the occasional joke, and small reminders of care. Don't forget the soup is hot, or share the pickles evenly. Shared meals extend beyond the home. Festivals, temple ceremonies, and market days all feature communal food. Villagers bring dishes to share, blending flavors, textures, and colors into a celebration that is both simple and rich. Children learn manners, women demonstrate generosity, and men show quiet appreciation. Everyone contributes, everyone partakes, and everyone leaves feeling fuller, not just in stomach, but in spirit. Cooking is also practical education. Children watch, taste, and imitate. They learn the rhythm of chopping vegetables, tending fires, stirring rice, and folding pickles. Mistakes are part of the lesson. Too much salt, spilled soup, or a dropped rice ball is met with gentle laughter rather than scolding. Humor becomes part of instruction, softening the rigor of daily learning. The sensory world of food in the village is rich. The crunch of fresh vegetables, the softness of steamed rice, the gentle temps of pickles, the aroma of simmering miso, and the occasional earthy scent of dried fish all combine into a layered experience. Sound, smell, and taste are all threads in the fabric of daily life. Even preparing tea, pouring hot water over dried leaves, watching the color bloom, inhaling the scent becomes a calming ritual that links people to each other and to the natural rhythm of the day. Meal preparation is collaborative. Mothers, daughters, and sometimes older sons work together, dividing tasks efficiently. One tends the fire, another slices vegetables, a third stirs soup. The rhythm of cooking mirrors the rhythm of life, coordinated, cooperative, and full of gentle humor. The occasional argument over who washed the bowls too quickly or who stirred too slowly is fleeting, resolved with laughter, a gentle shake of the head, or a small compromise. Evening meals are often the most serene. The work of the day winds down, the light softens, and the village gathers in a quieter state. Stories are told, laughter shared, and minor squabbles forgotten. Eating together becomes more than sustenance. It is reinforcement of bonds, a reminder that daily labor serves not just survival but connection. The act of sharing a meal cements the day's work into something meaningful. Seasonal variations add layers to the experience. Spring brings fresh vegetables, wild herbs, and new rice. Summer offers cooling dishes, pickled delights, and fruits. Autumn is abundant with harvests, nuts, and preserved delicacies. Winter calls for hearty soups, dried fish, and warming teas. Each season is marked by subtle changes in diet, reinforcing the connection between humans and nature, between labor and sustenance. Even food mishaps have charm. A pot overflows, a chicken steals a bit of rice, or a fish refuses to cook evenly. These moments are met with laughter, gentle admonishment, and quick adjustments. Humor reminds the villagers that life, like cooking, requires patience and flexibility. A spilled grain of rice is not tragedy. It's part of the rhythm, the lesson, the story. In the village, food is more than flavor or nourishment. It is instruction, ritual, connection, and quiet joy. Each meal, prepared and shared carefully, reflects the labor of women, the harvest of farmers, the craftsmanship of artisans, and the rhythm of the village itself. Through rice, soup, pickles, and tea, the heartbeat of the community becomes tangible, immediate, and comforting. By the end of the day, after dinner, plates are cleared, fires banked, and utensils washed. The village rests. Full stomachs and gentle hearts accompany the quiet exhale of evening. Food has nurtured bodies, reinforced bonds, and provided subtle joy. And tomorrow, the rhythm will begin again, with new meals, new labor, and new moments of laughter, care, and calm. Life in the village moves with the seasons, each bringing its own rhythm, tasks, and quiet beauty. Unlike the modern world, which often rushes past time unnoticed, the village lives in full awareness of the sun, rain, wind, and frost. The year is a teacher, and every season has lessons to impart: patience, diligence, celebration, and reflection. Spring arrives with a gentle sigh, warming the earth and nudging life awake. Farmers wade into the rice paddies, feet sinking into cool, muddy water. They plant seedlings row by row, careful not to crush the tender shoots. Water trickles through canals, reflecting the pink and white blossoms of trees nearby. The air is fresh, with a hint of lingering frost. Children splash in puddles while learning to respect the fields. Women gather herbs, weaving them into small bundles for cooking or medicine. Spring is work and hope intertwined, the quiet anticipation of growth, the first taste of warm days after cold nights, and the gentle chaos of new life. By summer, the village hums with energy. Days are long, the sun bright and persistent, and the air heavy with warmth. Farmers tend crops with care, pulling weeds, reinforcing irrigation channels, and chasing off the occasional curious bird. Sweat drips into the soil, nourishing more than just the crops. Children swim in streams or run through rice fields, occasionally startling the adults, who call out with soft, half-laughing admonition. Summer storms roll in with sudden force, sending showers that glisten over paddies and wash the village streets clean. Festivals pop up like bright flowers, lanterns, dances, and offerings to honor the gods and ancestors. Summer is growth, work, and celebration all at once, the most energetic season of the year. Autumn brings a gentle wind and the satisfaction of harvest. Rice is heavy in the fields, ripe and golden, ready to be cut and gathered. Villagers work together, carrying bundles, stacking grains, and preparing stores for winter. The air smells of earth, drying leaves, and smoke from hearths fired early to prepare for cooler nights. Children help learning the labor that sustains life. Festivals celebrate the bounty. Thanks are offered, stories are shared, and food is plentiful. Autumn is a season of reflection, reward, and preparation. Work continues, yes, but with a sense of achievement and quiet joy. Winter arrives with a soft hush. Frost coats the rooftops, and smoke rises steadily from hearths. Rice paddies rest under thin sheets of ice or snow, while animals shelter close to barns and stables. Villagers slow their pace, performing necessary tasks but resting where possible. Fires crackle in homes, casting flickering light on walls and floors. Children play in the snow, building small forts or chasing one another through drifts. Women cook long meals, preserving food and keeping warmth close. Men repair tools and wooden structures, checking roofs and fences. Winter is calm, reflective, and restorative, a season to consolidate, repair, and dream. Throughout the year, festivals and rituals mark the passage of time. Shinto and Buddhist ceremonies punctuate each season, tying villagers to nature, ancestors, and each other. Planting, harvesting, solstices, and New Year's celebrations are all part of this gentle calendar. Children learn to anticipate these events, preparing small gifts, assisting in decoration, or practicing ceremonial chants. The rhythm of life is never disrupted. It is merely expressed in different ways depending on the season. Daily life mirrors these seasonal changes. Clothing adjusts to the weather, light robes in summer, layered warmth in winter. Diet shifts with what is available. Fresh vegetables in spring, cooling dishes in summer, hearty soups in autumn, preserved foods in winter. Even work patterns respond to the sun and temperature. Mornings might start earlier in summer to avoid the hottest part of the day, while winter tasks are paced carefully to preserve energy and warmth. Life is attuned to natural rhythms in every way. The seasons also shape social life. Spring planting and autumn harvest require cooperation, families and neighbors working together, sharing tools and supporting each other. Festivals offer communal enjoyment and bonding, bringing laughter, music, and shared meals. Winter evenings encourage storytelling, quiet reflection, and intimate gatherings around the hearth. In every season, community is both practical and emotional, tying people to each other in ways subtle but deeply meaningful. Even the changing landscape teaches lessons. Buds emerge, bloom, wither, and fall. Frost and snow cover the earth only to melt and nurture new growth. Children learn that nothing is permanent and that each phase has its value. Adults, too, internalize these rhythms, understanding patience, foresight, and the beauty of impermanence. Humor arises in seasonal quirks, someone slipping on a frosty path, a sudden summer downpour soaking clothes, or a stubborn goat nibbling the autumn harvest. Laughter, like sunlight, warms the villagers through all changes. Seasons bring contrast. The quiet of winter makes spring's energy feel more alive. Summer's abundance is appreciated because of autumn's labor. Each transition reminds villagers of life's cyclical nature, teaching balance, resilience, and appreciation for the small moments. The year itself becomes a living lesson, reinforcing the calm order and harmony that defines village life. By observing the seasons, the village becomes more than a collection of homes, fields, and workshops. It becomes a living organism, breathing with the rhythms of nature, labor, and tradition. Villagers learn to move in sync with the world around them, planting, harvesting, celebrating, resting, finding peace in repetition, joy in small rewards, and laughter in the unexpected. Through all 4 seasons, the village maintains its gentle pulse, steady, calm, and alive. Life is predictable, but never dull, disciplined, but never joyless. Villagers grow in knowledge, skill, and spirit, learning that every day, no matter the weather, contributes to the continuity of community. The balance of labor and leisure, and the quiet, enduring beauty of life, in harmony with the natural world. Life in the village runs smoothly because everyone knows their place, not in a rigid, frightening way, but in a quiet, mutual understanding. Rules exist, but they are less about punishment and more about creating a gentle rhythm where everyone can live, work, and rest in harmony. Social structure in a feudal village is like a carefully woven cloth. Each thread matters, and each role contributes to the strength and beauty of the whole. At the heart of this structure are the farmers. They are the backbone, responsible for feeding the village and paying taxes in rice to the local lord. Farmers rise early, work long hours in the paddies, and understand the land intimately. Their daily lives are disciplined yet infused with subtle creativity, deciding the best planting patterns, managing water channels, and predicting weather from clouds and wind. Respect for their labor is implicit. Without their care, the village cannot sustain itself. Artisans hold the next vital role. Blacksmiths, carpenters, potters, and weavers provide the tools, furniture, clothing, and objects necessary for daily life. Their work requires skill, patience, and attention to detail. Each creation is both practical and a testament to tradition. Villagers respect artisans because they produce objects that last generations. Artisans, in turn, honor their craft by maintaining calm discipline and passing knowledge to apprentices and children. Merchants are a smaller, yet essential, presence. They facilitate trade, bringing goods from nearby villages or distant regions. Coins are rare, so bartering requires tact and fairness. Merchants are observers of human behavior, negotiating delicately, building trust, and sustaining connections. They bridge the village with the wider world while keeping interactions light-hearted, sometimes teasing or joking with regular customers. Their role is subtle but important. Commerce fuels continuity, not chaos. The women of the village maintain the home and hearth. They manage food, weave cloth, care for children, and organize household tasks. Their labor is often unseen but never unnoticed. The village runs smoothly because of their quiet skill and attention. Women also act as social glue, mediating disputes, maintaining harmony, and ensuring that traditions are followed gently and consistently. Their authority is soft, but it holds the village together like a careful thread in fabric. Children, as already learned, are in training. Their role is growing, observing, learning, and contributing in small ways. Every chore, festival participation, and lesson prepares them for adulthood. They observe the balance of work, play, and responsibility, internalizing the rules of cooperation, patience, and respect. They may be small, but they are vital, the future carriers of tradition, skill, and community. Above all, the samurai and local lords' representatives maintain oversight. Authority is real but not oppressive. Samurai ensure rules are followed, taxes are collected, and conflicts are managed. They are observers, disciplines, and symbols of order. Villagers respect them because the samurai embody calm authority and predictability rather than fear. Even children learn that authority exists and it can be respected without panic. The rules themselves are simple, rooted in practicality, tradition, and collective understanding. Work begins early. Fields are tended, homes are maintained. Children learn responsibility. Elders are respected. Festivals are celebrated. Disputes are resolved quietly. No one needs constant reminders. The rhythm of life and the expectation of cooperation teach behavior more effectively than loud commands ever could. It's a society built on trust, patience, and the gentle reinforcement of habit. Harmony is central. Villagers are keenly aware that their actions affect others. A poorly built fence can let water flood a neighbor's rice paddies. A careless child can upset a meal or a market exchange. Everyone has a stake in maintaining calm order, not because of punishment, but because it matters. Responsibility is internalized. Mutual respect is a given. Humor and patience help smooth the small bumps along the way. Even mistakes are accepted. A soft sigh, a shared laugh, and the lesson is remembered without resentment. Conflict exists, of course, but it is handled delicately. Arguments over property, chores, or market deals are usually resolved through discussion, mediation, or quiet intervention from respected elders. Violence is rare, public shaming is minimal. The village functions like a self-regulating organism, where the social structure, tradition, and subtle guidance of authority maintain balance. It is calm, predictable, and surprisingly effective. Even celebrations reinforce structure. Festivals and rituals require participation in roles clearly defined yet flexible. Children assist, adults perform, elders guide, and everyone contributes according to ability. The repetition of these events strengthens understanding of order and harmony without instruction. Experience itself becomes the teacher. Humor and joy coexist with discipline, making the lessons gentle, memorable, and human. The rhythm of daily life mirrors this structure. Morning chores, midday work, communal meals, evening rest. Each phase is predictable, yet alive with small variations. Everyone moves in sync with natural and social rhythms. No one feels forced. The pattern becomes intuitive. Work is meaningful. Social bonds are reinforced, and peace is maintained not by fear, but by respect, cooperation, and shared understanding. In essence, the village thrives because every role is acknowledged, every task valued, and every person contributes. Farmers feed, artisans create, merchants connect, women manage homes, children learn, and samurai oversee. Rules exist, yes, but their purpose is to maintain calm, harmony, and continuity. Laughter, small mistakes, and gentle humor ensure that life never feels oppressive. Instead, it is a rhythm, a pulse, a steady flow where everyone knows their part, and the village functions as a living, breathing organism. By understanding social structure, villagers learn more than their specific duties. They learn patience, empathy, observation, responsibility, and subtle negotiation. They understand cause and effect, the value of cooperation, and the quiet joy that comes from living in a community that works together without force. Life is neither frantic nor harsh. It is deliberate, calm, and deeply human. Harmony, then, is not imposed. It is cultivated through simple rules, careful guidance, shared labor, and gentle humor. The village remains a space where people thrive, connect, and pass their knowledge forward. Every day, every interaction, every quiet ritual reinforces the fabric of community, creating a life that is orderly, peaceful, and profoundly satisfying. A life in sync with both human needs and the natural world. Life in a feudal village is not dramatic. There are no battles or grand political schemes here. Instead, life is a quiet, steady rhythm, a song that rises with the sun, flows through the fields, markets, and homes, and softens as the moon climbs the sky. To be a villager is to live within that rhythm, to move with it, and to find meaning in its gentle patterns. The day begins before dawn. Farmers slip into the misty paddies, water dripping from wooden sandals, while children rub sleep from their eyes. Women prepare fires, boil rice, and set small bowls for the morning meal. Even the temple bells seem to wake with the day, their soft tolling blending with the calls of roosters and the distant bark of dogs. Everything has a place, everything has a time, and everything is connected. Work is not separated from life. Life is work, and work is life. Planting rice, tending animals, weaving cloth, repairing roofs, preparing meals. These are tasks performed with care, often quietly, and always with awareness. Mistakes happen, a seed dropped, a tool misplaced, a stew slightly overcooked, but humor and patience keep the village gentle. Laughing quietly at small mishaps is as natural as breathing. Even small failures become lessons, absorbed slowly over time. Community is the heartbeat of the village. People rely on each other, not just for labor, but for connection, reassurance, and support. A neighbor might lend a hand moving a heavy basket of rice. A child may run an errand for an elder, or families gather to celebrate a seasonal festival. Shared meals, market days, temple rituals, and evening storytelling all reinforce bonds. Humor, gossip, gentle teasing all coexist with respect, patience, and a deep sense of belonging. Children learn early that life is both simple and disciplined. They observe adults, participate in chores, attend small school sessions, and practice skills they will need as they grow. Play is intertwined with responsibility, running through rice paddies, chasing fireflies, carrying small loads for parents. Every day is a lesson in observation, patience, respect, and care, often without a word spoken, simply through living alongside others. The elders provide quiet guidance. Their experience informs the village, and their counsel is subtle but respected. They help mediate disputes, teach crafts, maintain traditions, and observe the flow of life. Children look to them with curiosity, adults with deference, and the village itself leans on their wisdom. Humor, often dry and gentle, accompanies their lessons, softening discipline and reminding everyone that life can be taken seriously without taking itself too seriously. Seasons shape the rhythm of life. Spring brings planting, summer work and festivals, autumn harvest and preparation, and winter rest. Each season is distinct, teaching lessons of patience, cooperation, endurance, and appreciation. The weather guides labor, play, and even reflection. Villagers move with it, adjusting daily routines, meals, and attire, always aware of the interplay between human effort and nature's cycles. Temples and shrines punctuate this rhythm with spirituality. Daily prayers, offerings, and seasonal rituals provide pauses, moments to reflect, give thanks, and connect with something greater than immediate labor. Even children absorb these practices, learning the subtle art of mindfulness, gratitude, and quiet observation. Priests and monks guide without force, reminding villagers that respect, humility, and care for others are as essential as tending the rice. Food, too, is central. Rice, miso soup, vegetables, fish, and pickles are not merely nourishment, they are lessons in patience, skill, and shared life. Cooking is deliberate, collaborative, and occasionally humorous, teaching children and adults alike about care, timing, and attention. Meals mark transitions, morning, noon, and evening. They punctuate work with rest, solitude with connection, and effort with joy. The presence of samurai and the local lord reminds villagers that life exists within a wider order. Authority is visible, but not oppressive, a steadying influence rather than a source of fear. Villagers learn to navigate hierarchy with respect and calm, understanding that balance between autonomy and oversight strengthens community cohesion. Even the samurai occasionally provide subtle humor, a tall guard ducking under a doorway or a clumsy step on a stone path, humanizing authority and easing tension. Evenings are particularly reflective. Lamps glow, fires crackle, and the village slows naturally. Children drift toward sleep, adults share soft conversations, and the world outside the village fades. Fireflies hover near the rice paddies, crickets sing, and the distant temple bells echo softly. Life is simple, repetitive, and yet infinitely rich, a pattern of care, effort, joy, humor, and reflection. To be a villager is to live fully within these rhythms. It is to recognize that life is sustained not only by labor, but by attention, cooperation, patience, and subtle joy. Mistakes, humor, celebrations, and small kindnesses all have value. Each day repeats yet differs, teaching awareness, resilience, and the gentle art of living in harmony with others and with nature. There is freedom in this simplicity. While schedules are structured and rules understood, life is never harsh or overly rigid. Humor, music, festivals, storytelling, and small playful moments punctuate the work. The villagers know that life is not only about surviving, it is about thriving quietly, finding meaning in routine and delight in small joys. The predictability is comforting, not confining. At the end of the day, as night falls and lamps dim, the village rests. The rhythms of labor, meals, ritual, and play settle into memory. Tomorrow will bring new work, new lessons, and new laughter. And through all of it, the subtle, steady heartbeat of the village persists, a rhythm of life, order, care, and joy that defines what it truly means to be a villager. Being a villager is not glamorous, not fast, and not dramatic. It is deliberate, communal, and filled with small, understated wonders. It is the slow weaving of life, like rice seedlings planted carefully in muddy water, like meals prepared and shared, like songs and stories whispered in the evening. It is life in quiet harmony, imperfect, human, gentle, and enduring. And perhaps, after all, there is a little magic in that, a rhythm that carries generations, teaching patience, connection, humility, and subtle joy. A life where work, rest, laughter, and care flow seamlessly together, creating not chaos, but calm, not isolation, but belonging, not urgency, but presence. This is the rhythm of a villager's life, slow, steady, and infinitely human. Even in a village defined by routine, festivals provide gentle sparks of excitement. They are not loud or overwhelming, but small bursts of communal joy that break the steady rhythm of daily life. These celebrations remind villagers that life, while disciplined, is also meant to be savored, laughed through, and quietly cherished. The preparation begins days in advance. Women braid straw decorations, children practice dances or songs, and men clean and repair shrines or ceremonial tools. The air is filled with anticipation and the soft hum of activity. Even the animals seem to sense it. Chickens cluck curiously, dogs follow groups of children with playful interest, and the occasional goat wanders into a workspace, prompting light-hearted laughter. Humor and spontaneity are part of the charm. Nothing needs to be perfect. Participation is enough. Festival days themselves start early. Villagers wake before dawn, dressing in their best yet simple robes, Colors are chosen not for extravagance, but for tradition: deep indigos, soft browns, whites, and occasional flashes of red or gold. Children run with lanterns, their laughter blending with the sounds of morning birds. Elders guide ceremonies, quietly correcting the young or giving gentle advice. The rhythm of the day, preparation, procession, offering, and celebration is familiar, comforting, and predictable, yet it carries its own special energy. Processions through the village are slow, deliberate, and joyful. Small, portable shrines are carried on shoulders, banners wave gently in the breeze, and drums and flutes mark a soft, lively cadence. Villagers walk together, chatting quietly, laughing softly, and pausing to exchange greetings. Even the smallest misstep, a lantern tilting or a child tripping, is met with laughter, not scolding. Festivals are teaching moments as well as celebrations, reinforcing patience, cooperation, and attention without pressure. Food is central to the joy of festivals. Extra rice is cooked, sweet treats prepared, and communal dishes shared openly. Children get small portions of special treats, which they savor carefully, learning gratitude and patience. Adults taste each dish slowly, appreciating the effort and skill behind every bite. Eating becomes an unspoken celebration, a reminder that labor and care culminate in pleasure and connection. Games and performances add color to the day. Children play simple games with balls, hoops, or small kites. Adults may demonstrate crafts, recite poetry, or play instruments. Even small mishaps, a drum misaligned, a kite tangled, are met with smiles and gentle humor. The emphasis is not on perfection, but on participation, joy, and shared experience. Everyone has a role, and every contribution matters, no matter how minor. Temples and shrines take on extra significance during festivals. Offerings are more elaborate, prayers more heartfelt, and rituals more visible. Villagers, young and old, bow carefully, place rice, sake, or incense, and whisper wishes. The spiritual pulse of the village quickens slightly, not with fear or urgency, but with gentle awareness of tradition and connection. Festivals are reminders that life is part of a larger rhythm, tied to ancestors, deities, and the natural world. Music accompanies many celebrations. Flutes, drums, and the occasional stringed instrument create soft, lively melodies. Children learn to follow the rhythm, elders nod in time, and the village moves together in synchrony. Even those who cannot play join with soft clapping, singing, or tapping along. The music is not meant to overwhelm. It supports, celebrates, and soothes all at once. Harmony is both literal and symbolic. As the day progresses, the village experiences subtle peaks of energy. People laugh more openly. Children chase fireflies near the rice fields, and neighbors share stories of past festivals. Humor, curiosity, and gentle playfulness flow naturally. Even disagreements, a lantern out of place, a mistaken song verse, are quickly softened with smiles and cooperation. The festival reinforces the values of patience, shared effort, and community without overt instruction. As evening falls, lanterns illuminate the village streets and fields. Soft glowing orbs reflect in puddles, rice paddies, and window panes. Music drifts slowly from homes, temples, and street corners. Families pause, watching the soft light, listening to gentle instruments, or sharing quiet moments. The energy of the day gradually winds down, replaced by calm, contentment, and reflection. Laughter persists in softer forms, like echoes from earlier excitement, reminding everyone that joy and calm are not opposites, but partners. Finally, as night deepens, the festival closes with small offerings at shrines, final bows, and extinguished lanterns. Villagers return home, tired but fulfilled, hearts warmed by connection, laughter, and shared experience. Children drift to sleep quickly, dreaming of the day's colors, sounds, and gentle adventures. Adults quietly reflect on the work, cooperation, and subtle joy that make festivals meaningful. Even the animals settle near hearths or in barns, lulled by the calm night and soft echoes of human presence. Festivals are more than breaks from routine. They are condensed lessons in patience, cooperation, reverence, humor, and the subtle balance of labor and joy. They remind the village, and anyone listening to its story, that life is steady, yes, but also playful, communal, and full of small wonders. Through preparation, participation, and reflection, festivals become living threads woven into the rhythm of daily life. strengthening bonds, passing traditions, and celebrating the gentle continuity of community. And so, even as the last lanterns fade and night settles fully over the village, the lessons of the festival linger. Life is calm but not stagnant, disciplined but not joyless, predictable but filled with subtle magic. Harmony, laughter, and care are ever present, flowing quietly through the village like a soft, enduring song. Time moves gently in the village, and those who live long enough eventually reach the elder years. Age is not feared here, it is respected, cherished, and woven seamlessly into the rhythm of life. Elders are quiet teachers, observers, and gentle anchors for the community. They carry stories, skills, and memories, passing them on without urgency, without pressure, simply through presence and example. An elder's day begins much like any other, but with slower steps and longer pauses. Morning light streams softly through paper sliding doors, highlighting the worn but familiar tatami mats and the hearth that has warmed countless mornings. Elders rise with the sun, stretch gently, and breathe in the crisp air, appreciating both its calm and its familiarity. They may visit rice paddies briefly, inspect small repairs, or tend a personal garden, tasks done at a slower, deliberate pace, rich with reflection. Elders often serve as quiet guides for younger villagers. Their advice is rarely given directly. Instead, it is offered subtly, in conversation or through demonstration. A nod toward a poorly stacked bundle of firewood, a gentle comment about pacing in the fields, or a shared story about a past harvest teaches lessons without fuss. Humor softens these moments. A misstep, a crooked fence, or a clumsy child earns a knowing smile, a chuckle, and sometimes a gentle story that turns correction into amusement. Children and young adults look to elders with respect, curiosity, and affection. They ask questions about past seasons, festival stories, or family history. Elders respond patiently, weaving tales with care, inserting humor and wisdom, and letting listeners discover lessons themselves. Even small, repeated stories carry meaning. A slight exaggeration, a funny quip, or a subtle moral becomes embedded in memory. Elders become the living archives of the village, a bridge between what was, what is, and what will be. Daily tasks for elders are simple but meaningful. They may water small garden plots, repair minor tools, or assist in cooking communal meals. Each action, no matter how small, embodies calm, attention, and continuity. Work is done not out of necessity alone, but because the rhythm of labor itself is nourishing. Mistakes are fewer now, but laughter remains. A spilled basket of herbs, a startled cat, or a wobbly step on a stone path becomes a gentle reminder that life is playful, even in old age. Evenings are particularly reflective for elders. As lamps glow and fires crackle, they sit with family, children, or neighbors, sharing stories and quiet observations. Moonlight filters through wooden lattice, illuminating calm faces and familiar corners. Elders often pause in silence, listening to the wind rustle bamboo leaves, the faint croak of frogs, or the distant temple bell. These moments are unhurried, rich with presence, and full of subtle wonder. The elder years also provide opportunities for mentoring. Young villagers are guided in crafts, farming techniques, or household routines. Patience is a teacher here, humor its companion. A misfolded cloth or slightly crooked basket becomes a gentle joke, a teaching moment, and a way to connect generations. Elders understand that the best lessons are absorbed slowly, through observation, repetition, and shared experience rather than strict instruction. Festivals continue to bring joy, but elders participate differently now. They watch children perform, quietly nodding at a familiar song or dance. They offer advice on rituals, share subtle insights about preparations, and provide continuity from generation to generation. Laughter remains soft and warm, and the energy of the day is absorbed with calm appreciation rather than strenuous effort. Festivals, even in old age, remain vivid reminders of connection, tradition, and subtle delight. Elders are also witnesses to the passage of seasons. They notice changes in weather, shifts in crops, and the rhythm of village life with particular clarity. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter are measured not only in work and festivals, but in reflection, memory, and quiet understanding. Each season offers a chance to see how the village grows, changes, and persists, reinforcing the beauty of life's cycles. Spiritual reflection deepens in these years. Elders offer prayers at shrines, teach children the correct placement of offerings, and remember ancestors with care. Their presence embodies respect, humility, and continuity. Through subtle guidance and ritual, elders remind the village of values that matter most: patience, cooperation, humor, and care. In the quiet moments before sleep, elders reflect on life's rhythm. They recall the long days of planting, the laughter of festivals, the gentle mistakes of children, and the comforting routines of meals, chores, and seasons. Even in solitude, they feel connected to nature, to community, and to generations past and future. Humor and gentle observation color these reflections, ensuring that the elder years remain rich with engagement, warmth, and subtle joy. To be an elder in the village is to live fully in the rhythm of life while observing its patterns with clarity and patience. Mistakes are forgiven, joys are celebrated quietly, and wisdom is shared effortlessly. Elders are both teachers and students, guiding others while learning from the world around them. Their presence stabilizes the community, connecting past, present, and future with calm continuity. As night falls, elders sit by fires or lamps, listening to the soft pulse of the village, the distant song of crickets, the faint chatter of children returning home, the gentle rustle of trees. They breathe in the calm, letting the day's work settle, and feel gratitude for life's steady rhythm. Even in rest, they remain deeply engaged, witnessing the gentle continuity of a life well lived. The elder years, like all stages in the village, are not rushed, loud, or dramatic. They are reflective, calm, and full of subtle beauty. Through observation, humor, and gentle guidance, elders embody the heartbeat of the village, ensuring that its rhythm continues unbroken, steady, harmonious, and profoundly human. Life in the village is like a river, steady, flowing, and quietly unstoppable. Each generation leaves its mark, each season writes its story, and each person contributes to a rhythm that continues beyond any single life. Legacy in the village is not about wealth, fame, or grand monuments. It is about presence, care, skill, and connection. It is about continuity, the invisible threads that bind past, present, and future. Children grow, learn, and begin to take on more responsibility. They carry baskets of rice, tend animals, weave cloth, and assist in cooking, slowly stepping into the roles their parents once held. Mistakes happen, as they always will, but they are met with gentle laughter, guidance, and patience. Every stumble, every spilled grain, every crooked stitch is a lesson, and each lesson becomes part of the invisible legacy of the village. Parents watch quietly, offering subtle corrections, soft encouragement, and playful teasing. They see themselves in their children, but also the future they cannot fully predict. They understand that legacy is not control, but influence, teaching skills, values, and rhythms that will persist long after their own work is done. Humor remains part of the process. A spilled basket may prompt a chuckle, a sudden tumble, a shared laugh, softening lessons, making them memorable, and weaving joy into responsibility. Elders, now fully woven into the fabric of the village's memory, provide continuity. They carry the stories of past generations, the wisdom of experience, and the calm patience of long observation. Their presence anchors the village, guiding it without force, teaching without lecturing, and reminding everyone that life is cyclical, not linear. The rhythm of daily chores, seasonal festivals, and shared meals persists because these patterns are observed, respected, and repeated by each new generation. Every object, every task, every tradition becomes part of this continuity. Tools are repaired, not discarded. Recipes are taught, not replaced. Songs, dances, and small rituals are passed down with subtle changes, preserving essence while allowing life to evolve. Even humor carries forward. A familiar joke about a goat in the rice field, a mischievous child, or a clumsy lantern is retold, linking generations with laughter. The seasons continue their steady dance, marking time with planting, growing, harvesting, and resting. Festivals, prayers, and rituals punctuate the year, reinforcing shared values and connections. Life is never stagnant. It is a careful balance of repetition and small variation, discipline and play, effort and reflection. Villagers move together in this rhythm, each aware of their place, each contributing to the village's quiet song. Even the landscape participates in this continuity. Rice paddies are replanted, trees bloom and shed, rivers flow steadily, Mountains stand as silent witnesses, and winds carry familiar sense of soil, smoke, and growing things. The village and nature exist in a subtle dialogue. Humans tend the land, and the land supports humans. Legacy here is as much about care for the natural world as for the people within it. The connection between generations is tangible. Parents observe children who observe their own children, and elders watch it all. Knowledge, skill, humor, and values flow like water from one to the next. Every day, small rituals, folding a cloth, arranging a meal, lighting a lamp, or setting out rice for an offering, reinforce this link. Legacy is built quietly, consistently, and with care, like careful stitching in a long, enduring quilt. Humor, joy, and small surprises ensure that continuity is never dull. A child slipping in mud, a sudden rain shower during planting, a misaligned lantern during a festival. These moments create shared memories that anchor relationships, making the rhythm of life more human, more flexible, and more delightful. Laughter becomes part of the legacy, a reminder that life's seriousness is balanced by gentle joy. As night falls, the village becomes calm once more. Lamps glow in homes, fires flicker in hearths, and soft conversations drift into silence. Children sleep, adults rest, and elders reflect on the passing day. The rhythm of life continues, steady and predictable, but full of meaning, connection, and subtle magic. Legacy is not a monument, but the feeling of continuity, the awareness that each life touches another, and that the village persists because of care, attention, and love. The quiet of the night invites reflection. Even as villagers close their eyes, their actions ripple into the future. Lessons remembered, skills absorbed, traditions maintained. Every small act contributes to continuity. Tying a bundle of rice, weaving a basket, singing a song, telling a story, sharing a laugh. The village is alive in its memory, its practice, and its people. Its legacy is woven into the daily, unnoticed moments that sustain community across time. In the early hours before dawn, the village rests in perfect balance. Mist rises gently from paddies, soft winds rustle through bamboo, and the first hints of light prepare to touch rooftops and fields. Life pauses for a moment, holding its breath before the rhythm begins anew. Every villager, from child to elder, participates in this cycle, contributing to the calm, enduring song of continuity. And so, the village lives, dies, and is reborn with each day. Labor, play, meals, stories, festivals, and quiet reflection all flow together, forming a steady heartbeat. Generations come and go, but the rhythm, the care, and the joy remain. The village is not just a place, it is a living tradition, a gentle story, and a home for all who pass through it. Legacy and continuity are not loud or spectacular. They are quiet, steady, human, and eternal. They are found in laughter shared across generations, in songs passed from elder to child, in crops tended and meals shared, in festivals observed and stories whispered. Life in the village continues, calm and harmonious, inviting every listener, every participant, to breathe, rest, and feel connected, not just to this village, but to the gentle rhythm of life itself. And with that, the story of the village, its days, seasons, laughter, work, and legacy, draws to a soft close. Like the final flicker of a lantern, the gentle hush of the fields at night, or the last whisper of a temple bell, it leaves the world peaceful, full of subtle warmth, and perfectly ready for rest.